It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi everyone, this is a forum on Eagle Community Television. I'm Gary Shorman and the forum's brought to you by Hayes Med. Today our guest is almost straight from Japan. Her name is Angela Moore. Angela, good to have you back, and boy, you're looking great today.
Thank you.
One of the things I want to find out, first off, tell me about yourself. Where'd you grow up? I know it's Hayes, but tell me a little bit about yourself and how you made it to KU.
All right, well, I was born in Hayes. My parents are Lori and Alan Moore. I'm a twin, and I have an older brother, Andrew. I've been living in Hayes for all of my life, except for when I went to KU. I had an interest in Japanese culture for a long time. Like I had interest in
even back in high school, you were interested in
Japanese
culture?
I'm a cosplayer, meaning I make outfits and costumes from Japanese animation TV shows, and I also liked music. I also experimented in different looking at culture things, because it's very different than our culture, obviously. So I just had a very big interest, and I think my earliest experience with Japanese culture and the language is back in it was first grade or kindergarten. We had a student teacher come and help us, and her name was Mrs. Kimoni, and she actually taught our class how to use chopsticks. We had tea. She would teach us how to count in Japanese, and that's the earliest experience I think of me learning Japanese.
Well, isn't that interesting though, as you go back and you take a look at what you learned in even early on in school and how that translates to you then ending up in Japan. So you went to KU, you were a Jayhawk, and
Yes.
a couple years of school there. How did you decide then to go on a full year of time over in Japan?
My major is Japanese culture and language, but it's more of a group major of being East Asian culture with a concentration in Japanese language and my advisor is Maggie Childs Sensei. She told me about experiences with her living in Japan when she was in classes. She still goes to Japan from time to time, and she said, and also a lot of my friends have also gone to Japan. They were in the same major as me. And they said that they felt that half a year was not enough to get used to the language of hearing it and speaking it. So I decided that a year would be best to actually speak and get to know the language more.
Well, we'll talk about your year over there, but you're dressed. Tell us about your dress. Do you wear this every day now that you're back from Japan?
No.
You don't?
No, this is a yukata. It's a summer version of a kimono. An actual kimono, the formal dress, is actually, the sleeves are much, much longer, and it's actually made out of 3 layers. A kimono is. This is 1 layer. But the actual, when it's not actually put on, this robe reaches pretty much to the floor, and it's actually folded up, especially into here, and then there's actually 3 different ties that hold it up to this length.
Now, would this be something you would wear to a formal event, or is this something you wear once a week when you're in Japan, as the typical Japanese would do?
Mostly kimono and yukata are only worn to go to festivals and also to different, some people wear them for temple visits or some kind of coming of age ceremony, or when they really want to kind of have a special event, like tea ceremonies and such like that. But I would see not many young women or young men wearing formal clothing just out and about. They would mostly be wearing it for a purpose, like going to a festival or going to some kind of event.
Well, tell me about shopping. Just first, where do you find one of these in Japan? And secondly, do women in Japan shop for shoes like they do here in the United States?
Oh yes, they have normal clothing stores. They have Japanese fashion is very unique and it's very similar to ours. There's huge stores of just business suits and stuff like that, and also just normal flashy clothing, like modern clothing. But traditional clothing stores are also there, which are more for kind of more like events. This is for the coming of age ceremony. When a girl turns 20 in Japan, they always have a very flashy kimono for that ceremony. And also, they have both Western style weddings and traditional style weddings. And they have, women will sometimes have both styles of weddings. They'll have one dress for the reception and one dress for the Shinto ceremony, Shinto is the more traditional religion of Japan, which is a mix of native beliefs and also more with Buddhist beliefs. It's a big modge podge of things. Mm-hmm. And traditionally, women in the Shinto, if they want a Shinto wedding, they have to wear a kimono along with the man. But if they want a Western style wedding, that's also all right. So they go to an actual church to get it, and they wear, the traditional white wedding dresses like here.
Now talk about, you have a kind of what is something in your hair.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Turn your head that way, look that way, and then Brandon can zoom in on the camera. What is that?
It's just a hairpiece that a lot of the women will wear. I actually made this one myself because I didn't really feel like spending $15 on a hairpiece that I could make for like $4 here.
Uh-huh.
So I knew what they looked like, so I decided to just make it myself.
Well, it looks great. Now, we're going to talk a little bit too about what you did over there, and we'll ask some questions about what you liked the most, but we'll save that for a little bit later. When you were over there, what surprised you when you, got over there, and what surprised you after maybe a year there?
I think what surprised me the most when I first came there was just the amount of people. It's very different than Hays, Kansas. There's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people just in the most. I first came there that night. I was really tired. I hadn't slept on the flight. I had been going without 36 hours of sleep when I first arrived in Japan.
It's a long way, yeah.
Yeah. So I arrived there, and then someone from the university that I was attending there came to lead us all the way back to our dorm, and it was just crazy. The trains were packed full of people. We had to transfer in Shinjuku, which is the busiest train station in the world, and there's just hundreds of people going by you, just like in a flash of just flashes of color, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to lose anyone. But after a while, you just get used to going through the throng of people, and also you just kind of learn to cut your way through people.
Now, did you ever drive over there? Because I know
No.
a lot of people have public transportation, which gets everybody around, but I also understand when people drive over there that can get pretty crazy.
Yeah, I never drove over there because you have to be 25 years old to rent a car there. And also you have to have an international driver's license, and I did not really want to bother with that. Also, with the road systems, the steering wheel is on the opposite side of here, and they also drive on the opposite side of here. So it would probably give me a really bad headache to try to figure out.
Was it pretty crazy when you get that many people out on the road as well?
It wasn't that bad actually, because most people typically took the train or walked or took buses. So it really wasn't too bad with traffic. Honestly, when I went to the cities and stuff like that, they had very good systems of just crosswalks, and also you could just probably run across the street if you didn't see anyone.
Now, what about school? Because you stayed in a dorm there, but how much different, obviously differences, but what were the differences between KU and landing at a university there? Because you took full courses or full slate of classes over in Japan.
Yes. I attended Sophia University, or Joji is what they called it.
Now, was that an English university or was that a Japanese?
It's a Japanese university, but it's known as like one of the #1 top international universities in Japan. 10% of the population was international students, so exchange students from like different countries in Europe, Africa, Asia, other areas of Asia, so Western countries. But most of the classes that I took were taught in English, and those were called the FLA classes, foreign language courses. So they would be taught in English, but also Japanese students could also take the courses. So I had classes always with people from Germany, from Italy, also from other people from America, and also people from Japan in my classes. The only classes that were taught exclusively in Japanese were my Japanese language courses. And that always was just like,
wow.
just listening
We're going
to
to come back. We're going to talk. We're going to have you do a little Japanese for us when we come back.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the food and maybe what you liked the best, what you didn't, and then maybe talk a little bit about recommendations for some other people considering doing what you do, whether it be Japan or somewhere else. Our guest is Angela Moore. Angela just returned from a year-long trip in Japan as part of a KU Foreign Studies program. Back with more with Angela after this.
Youthful body, tight tummy, smooth facial lines. Greystone Cosmetic and Reconstructive Surgery is here to help you achieve your goals and give yourself the new look you've always wanted. Greystone offers sophisticated surgical and non-surgical cosmetic procedures. With services now available locally, there's no need to wait any longer. Contact Greystone Cosmetic and Reconstructive Surgery at Hayes Medical Center today or online at greystonecosmetic.hayesmed.com.
It's a beautiful day in our super high-speed internet great customer service neighborhood. Like you, this is where we live. In fact, our company is employee-owned, so it's our goal to improve the quality of life for everyone in our community. by delivering faster, more reliable internet, clearer, more feature-laden phone service, quality TV channels, all with the level of customer service you'd expect from people who are your neighbors. Eagle Communications. Our community connected.
Welcome back to the second half of our forum program here on Eagle Communications. Our forum's brought to you by Hayes Med. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas about some great programs we can have here on the forum, send me a note, gary.shorman@eaglecom.net. You can also pick up the phone, give me a call at 785-625-4000. That's our office number. We'd like to hear from you. If you're on Facebook, you can go to Facebook under ECTV Forum, click us, like us as your friend. We'll keep you posted on all the great programs coming down on the forum. Our guest today is Angela Moore, and Angela has returned from an 11-month trip over to Japan, part of a foreign studies program through Kansas University. Angela, we left talking about the Japanese language. Those of us that are not familiar with it, it just sounds like a very difficult language to learn. Did you have a hard time picking it up?
It was very difficult. Like before I went to Japan, I'd been learning it for 2 years, and then my third year of studying Japanese was actually over there. But the structure, it's completely different. Like how English is, it's usually like subject, object, verb, like she ran, or, but it's more like she quickly ran. Like it's always some kind of mixed up. It's kind of more similar to, the verb structure is more closer to Spanish, and also just the different tones that you use. It's very like, there are three words that sound exactly the same. Hashi. There's actually there are three different meanings depending on your intonation. It's chopsticks, bridge, and also another thing. But also using words like ame and ame. Ame is candy, while ame is rain.
I could get confused over there, I can tell you that. So if you were going to order lunch, what would a typical lunch, when you step up to a counter and you want to order lunch, what would you order?
I guess
in Japanese.
All right. すいません。私は牛丼一つお願いします。Like I want an order of one gyudon, which is a onion beef rice bowl dish.
That sounds like fun. Now, were there some foods that you really liked and some foods that you didn't like? What were examples of those?
I really liked yakiniku, which is pretty much just Japanese/Korean style barbecue. So it had like special sauces with garlic and soy, and also different variations of sauces. And I went to one restaurant called Gut Soul, actually in English, and it was a yakiniku tabehodai restaurant, which is all you can eat. So what would happen is that there was actually a grill built into the table at our place, and they would just bring you bowls of meat in different sauces and different cuts, and you just grill it yourself for 90 minutes. And then you just eat as much as you want. Like you just keep ordering and ordering meat and different like foods to just grill it for yourself.
And what didn't you like? Were there some foods you said, yuck?
Yeah,
How do you say yuck in Japanese?
Yada.
Yada. Anything you said yada in that said, I don't want this?
Yeah, I discovered that I had a slight allergy towards seaweed, nori, and I just would always be like, it just always made me feel ick after I ate it. So
I think Brandon and I have an allergy to seaweed too, along the line.
Yeah, so I would always have to go to a restaurant and say, "Sumimasen, watashi no alergi wa nori desu." I have an allergy to seaweed.
Now, your parents came over and visited you over. What did they like? And did they jump into the Japanese culture pretty well?
Not really. Especially my dad and my brother are very tall, so they towered over a lot of people. So it's like, it was really entertaining for that reason. But also sometimes they wouldn't understand that you have to walk on the left side instead of the right side. If you're standing on an elevator or an escalator, you're supposed to stand on the left side and then leave the right side open so people can keep walking up. It's always constantly moving. And I would have to pull them to the left side, saying, no, you can't stand there.
Can you get run over if you're in the wrong spot?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
If someone's in a hurry, you gotta move.
My guess is that's one of the things you may not miss, but what would you miss about Japan and being there?
I liked a lot of the food, but I also missed I'm really into the Japanese animation culture and also like stuff like that. So I missed having access to these things and being able to purchase them for a much cheaper price than I would get here. Because ordering like a box maybe this tall and this big and only weighing like not even half a pound, it would cost me like $30 to ship to the U.S.
Just because of the shipping part of it is the biggest part there. So.
It's so expensive.
Are you looking forward to going back again someday?
I wouldn't mind visiting, but I would not want to live there, I decided. It's just way too different from here. And also, I would miss, my diet would be pretty bad over there because fruit there is horribly expensive. Like a single apple is like $1.37. 2 bunches of grapes, like 2 handfuls of grapes would cost $20. And then 6 strawberries was like $8.
So, you know, it was one of those things expense-wise over there. Did you find that in general things were a lot more expensive than they are here? Other than some of those things that would be what I'd say traditional Japanese product?
I felt like, I don't feel like the clothing was that much more expensive than ours. I think that mostly it was the food that cost more, like fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. Also, meat was a little bit more expensive because they don't really have the space to grow like a lot of these things, so they would be importing them, and that costs money as well.
Now, did you have any earthquakes while you were there? Because that seems to be something you hear about, and there have been a couple that have been significant earthquakes. Was that a concern of yours at all?
It wasn't too much of a concern, but I felt many of them. The first night that I arrived, I told you before that I hadn't slept for 36 hours. And I was laying in bed the first night I arrived, and I think I managed to fall asleep for 2 hours, and I woke up, and I was like, am I shaking because I'm so tired, or is the room shaking? I was like, it's the room shaking. And I just fell back asleep. I didn't really care.
At that point, who cares, right?
Yeah.
So what's up next? You're going to go back to KU, you'll finish your senior year, and then what plans do you have after that?
I'm not sure what plans I'm going to have. I wouldn't mind working with foreign students or foreign people that need translators for business things, but I would rather avoid going back to Japan to live. I wouldn't mind there visiting, but I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet, but I'm talking with my advisors and figuring out a plan.
Now, was that something you'd advise? Because, you know, when you get a chance in college to be able to spend that time, a lot of people, boy, that's a long time away.
Yeah.
Would you recommend that to others, and how would you go about getting signed up if you are going to school and want a chance to do that?
I feel like it was a very good experience, and I think that long of a time was a fair amount. It was a very good amount. I feel like if I had stayed shorter time, I really wouldn't have gotten to experience as much as I did. And it is expensive, so I would definitely look for programs that would help you study abroad in Japan. Also, at KU there are a lot of different schools that we are partnered with in Japan to go to, like Obarin, Sophia, and several others. And going with different scholarships can definitely help you. I got the Jill Kleinenberg scholarship, so that helped. It was like $1,000 for the whole year, but it just took it off the tuition. But that was still a helpful thing. Very
good. Well, Angela, good to have you here on the program. You look so great. And good luck at KU this next year.
Thank you.
Angela Moore has been our guest here on the Forum program on Eagle Communications. The Forum is brought to you by Hayes Med and by Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Youthful body, tight tummy, smooth facial lines. Greystone Cosmetic and Reconstructive Surgery is here to help you achieve your goals and give yourself the new look you've always wanted. Greystone offers sophisticated surgical and non-surgical cosmetic procedures. With services now available locally, there's no need to wait any longer. Contact Greystone Cosmetic and Reconstructive Surgery at Hayes Medical Center today or online at greystonecosmetic.hayesmed.com.